All right, so Dr. Faith B. Israel is the deputy political leader of the Progressive Democratic Patriots in Tobago. The election's coming up there on, again, for the second time in months, this time on December 6th. She's agreed to talk with us on the latest in that campaign. Dr. B. Israel, good morning. Good to have you.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, let's start with some of the latest reporting I've seen in the last couple of days. In one case, you're being described by some of your opponents as hypocritical, and somebody said you are peddling a blanket of misinformation. Your figures aren't adding up, given some of the things you're saying. I'll respond to that.
Well, we don't really have to respond to that. When I saw that thing about the figures, I was hoping that they would have corrected the figures. As it relates to COVID-19, for example, Tobago has some of the highest rates compared to Trinidad and Tobago. And when you do the actual calculations, our death rates, for example, is almost double that of Trinidad. So when I saw that, I thought, thank God maybe my figures are wrong, and I was hoping that they would have actually shown the correct figures. But what they did instead was indicate that they knew going into this that Tobago had some of the higher rates of non-communicable diseases, which means that our healthcare system should have been actually better prepared to treat with COVID-19 as it relates to people with non-communicable diseases. And that would have meant ensuring that we have, for example, testing capacity on the island. We still have very limited testing capacity. We still have to send all of our samples to Trinidad. It would have ensured that we had more ICU beds and better opportunities to prevent and to treat people with COVID-19 if we knew that we had higher rates of NCDs going into this. So it was really disappointing when I heard the statement, and it kind of shows that we really don't understand the management of COVID-19, and instead of just taking the constructive criticism and rolling with it and trying to improve it, the pushback was kind of, immature in my mind. All right, because it didn't address the issues.
Okay, I want to ask, let's go a little further on something you said in there, that samples have to be sent to Trinidad to get proper analysis and so on. To what extent that is an issue that ought to be addressed? Again, it's just a symptom of the sort of lower sister status that Tobago continues to experience. To what extent that is a symptom of the kinds of things that maybe your party and other people, other Tobago patriots, want to reverse and have fixed as you go forward with governance of the island?
Certainly, it is a perfect example because we had an opportunity close to the beginning of this pandemic to actually acquire a full testing capacity on the island. And for some reason, we chose not to. We are at this point where we are still waiting. Some people are still waiting for weeks before they've gotten their test results back. And when you look at how, COVID is spread and what we need to respond to it quickly, getting a quick answer about whether you are COVID positive or not is one of the first steps in ensuring that we manage the infection accurately. So yes, this is just a perfect example of why Tobago has been saying that, we are ready for change. The election in January 2021, and I'm sure you, Mr. Johnson, was actually kind of surprised when the PDP was able to win 6 of the 12 seats. And this is an organization that was created in 2016, just before the 2017 Tobago House of Assembly election. And we have been working on the ground. We have been listening to the people of Tobago. We've been hearing their cries. And that's why we came so close in January. And that's why I think they are going to give us an opportunity to do a little better, not just a little better, to do a lot better than what we've been experiencing in Tobago under the PNM administration for the last 21 years. Because we must be reminded that even though in Trinidad, we've had different administrations going and coming and managing Trinidad, in Tobago for the last 21 years, we have been managed under the People's National Movement. So all of the lack of development, the lack of accountability, the lack of transparency, everything that you are hearing about now has been under their tenure.
So is it Mrs. Davidson Celestine who is saying, whatever I promise, I will deliver? I wonder what's your pushback on that?
Well, Mrs. Davidson Celestine has been promising quite a lot. She's the one who, a couple of years ago, while she was a secretary for tourism, spent over $3 million for a zip line that we are all still waiting for. We are all still waiting to see the zip line. And a zip line isn't something that's, you know, it's a thing in the sky that you can't see. She said a couple months ago that 85% of it was on the island. We are still waiting to see the 85% of this huge zip line that has cost us over $3 million. So she has a very long track record of not being trustworthy, of not being able to do what she says that she's going to do. So it's really unfortunate that she would try to peddle that kind of lie about the PDP when in fact her track record speaks for itself.
Yeah. What's your sense of, in this round, your party's performance or likely performance, the prospects of your party forming the administration in Tobago after December 6th?
Well, I think that Tobagonians have been saying for the last 8 or 9 months since the January 2021 election that the PDP is the better option. In January, they gave us an opportunity to work together. Those on the other side absolutely refused that opportunity. And what we've been getting on the ground is that people are anxious to make a very decisive decision, and that decision will go in the favor of the PDP.
That's how you're seeing it. Let's talk about on the ground now. Give us a sense of what people are saying. You know, a lot of times with political communication, people don't talk publicly about how they feel. There's a sense that is even sort of more acute in Tobago than it may be in Trinidad, but the sense that you feel among people.
So, you know, unfortunately, because of COVID, we've had to attend so many funerals. One of the things I've actually been experiencing is in the middle of the funerals, when we should be reverent and we should be thinking about, you know, why we are there, people are coming up and saying they're so tired of this. They're ready for the election. They're hoping the elections would have been tomorrow, kind of thing. This was the sense we got right after January, when Tobagonians recognized that those on the other side were not willing to be a part of the process to help to allow both groups of assemblymen to control the Tobago House of Assembly. Because remember, since January 2021, the holdover executive that was there before the election is the entity that has been running the election. So there were 6 PDP assemblymen who were duly elected, who've been in essence sitting on the outside. And Tobagonians saw that as very, very, very unfair. They saw that as those on the other side not taking the opportunity to show that they were mature and they were willing to work together, and they are ready to change that. All
right. We want to thank you very much for weighing in on that with us. And at the top of the program this morning, Dr. Faith B. Israel. Thank you very much. We'll watch to see what happens.
Thanks for having me.
All right. We're going to take a break. Much more to come, including what some people will say is the long-awaited update, information from the Ministry of Agriculture on what they are experiencing in parts of the country with the locust infestation. That and much more. Still ahead. Stay with us.